Welcome to Conferences Portugal Makes Sense. This panel will be about technological partnerships for success. An increasing number of German and Portuguese companies are developing successful technological business partnerships. Portugal is now more than a reliable partner. It is a source of innovation thanks to its talented people. Further on, we will see some innovation cases developed by German and Portuguese companies. But before showcasing these success stories, may I turn your attention to the opening remarks by the Portuguese Minister of the Economy and Maritime Affairs, António Costa Silva.
So, good morning to everybody. I would like to thank the German Confederation of Industry and Trade Chambers the invitation to address this panel on technological partnerships with success. It is an honor for Portugal to be the country partner of the Hanover Fair. The Hanover Fair is the most important fair in the industrial world regarding development of new products and solutions to cope with challenges that we face ahead. And if you look to the history of the mass, most of the most important innovations and products show there at the first glance, and after they were disseminated across the globe. For Portugal, in this fair, we try to mobilize the best that we make in the country in terms of creation, innovation, development of new products, new processes, new solutions. We have sectors of excellence that are present here. First of all, the metallo-mechanical sector, the development of new metallic products, the tools of high precision, the electronic side, the equipment, the electric equipment, all this chain that is crucial for development of the infrastructure of high developed technological societies. But on top of that, the world is searching for a new paradigm for mobility, especially urban mobility, but also the mobility across all the chain of the transport system. And we have companies here providing solutions, working in different areas of the chain production regarding the transport system. And we will have, for the electric side, solutions for electric vehicles, but not only for electric vehicles. I am a strong believer that hydrogen will play a fantastic role in the future. Hydrogen is the most abundant gas in the universe, is very versatile, can be used in multiple ways, can compete in mobility with electric cars based on the fuel cells that are being under development with maybe more autonomy. So it is a real competitor for trucks that travel each day more than 1,500 kilometers, is a competitor as well for the vessels, for the maritime transport, and there are experiences in the world, starting in Australia, to test this fuel also for the airplanes. So we are searching for new fuels, the new generation, and the intention in Portugal, we have a project in the Sines port to establish a green shipping hub regarding not only hydrogen, but ammonia and methanol. And as the Maritime International Authority is setting new standards for the fuels that move the vessels, reducing the level of sulfur and other standards, it's very important to cope with that. And our companies, our enterprises with innovation are coping as well in this chain. But it's not all that we have to show here. If we regard the automotive sector is under a rebirth. So searching for new developments, new technologies, and also new materials. In Portugal, we have companies that are searching for new materials, and there is a revolution today where carbon can play a huge role. The solid carbon with nanotubes of carbon, fibers of carbon, graphene can play a role because these materials are more resilient, more flexible, and they can cope with the situation. If we regard the textiles, the plastic, the technical plastics, the molds, we have also a strong sector that can provide solutions, and all that is displayed in the Hanover Fair and can be visited for all the people involved. Finally, we have, in terms of energy, of renewables, Portugal is a country that is an early mover in renewables. So we have a whole sector with developments, with the technologies providing solutions for that. The eolic and the solar photovoltaic is booming in Portugal. We have some of the most fantastic projects across Europe that can also be visited, and our companies provide solutions, innovations to cope with that. And of course, we are very keen to develop the relationship with our German friends, with our German companies and enterprises. We have a strong relation, a long tradition of cooperation with German companies, partnerships of success, technological partnerships that are underway, starting with the investment, the productive investment that Germany has made in Portugal is maybe the foreign country with the highest productive investment in the industrial sector in our country. And we have investments from Volkswagen that are one of our key driving sectors in the automotive side. And this investment in the production of cars is also coupled with development of the components industry, with all the chains that provide also solutions and products in our country. But we have also partnerships of BMW that develop in a partnership with a technological Portuguese company, Critical Software. Critical Software is one of the most advanced technological companies in the software issues, cooperates also with NASA, and the partnership with BMW is providing some fruitful advances. We have also Bosch in the cooperation and partnership of Bosch with several Portuguese universities, namely the University of Minho, and this partnership is providing new solutions in terms of the mobility paradigm. And this is what is at display here in Hanover. The Hanover Mess is fantastic because it shows continuously what the human mind is able. Human mind, our creativity, is what will save us in front of the challenge that we have ahead. And just to finalize, I'd like to stress that sometimes in front of the big challenge that we have, the climatic threat, above all, the change in the planetary system, the threats that we have in terms of the human species, I think the human mind is always the solution and our creativity. But sometimes we underestimate the velocity at which the future arrives to our organizations. In the management theory is well known the example of Kodak. Kodak was an enterprise that was absolutely dominated in the market, in the photo market, with the films, the photographic films, and with the analogic cameras. And in the 70s, Kodak had a fantastic engineer, a brilliant engineer, Jeff Sessions. He was the first inventor of the digital cameras in the world. And he presented his invention to the board of Kodak. And the story is known. The invention was rejected because the board said our business is based on the analogical cameras, on the digital film, on the photographic films, so digital cameras are not the solution. And years after Kodak disappeared, the digital cameras took over the market and the company was gone. Sometimes the choice we make today will affect our future. And we cannot underestimate the velocity at which the future, the innovation arrives to our organizations. And I think this is a good starting point to look to the future. If we ask ourselves about the future, what will be the world in 2050? What will be the physiognomy of our cities? What will be the key drivers for the energy metrics worldwide? What will be the physiognomy of cooperation between the human species and machines? How will be the interaction of our species with robots? What will happen in terms of the biodiversity of the planet? The biodiversity of the planet is the insurance life that we have in this planet, and it has been destroyed at a huge pace. So looking to 2050, what will be the solutions? And I strongly believe the solutions will come from the human mind, from our creativity, from our ability to cope with the very difficult challenges that lie ahead of us and find solutions. The human mind operates miracles, and with the human mind and the creativity of the human mind, we can always render the impossible impossible. And if we do that, I am sure that we will overcome the huge challenges that we have ahead of us. Thank you very much.
German companies trust more and more in Portuguese innovation, quality, and reliability, sensing that made in Portugal is as good as made in Germany. Portugal makes sense for an increasing cooperation between German and Portuguese companies. Please welcome Volker Treyer, Executive Board Member of the Association of German Chambers of Commerce and Industry.
Thank you so much. Apologies for being late. The highway was blocked. There is a great need for infrastructure renovation in Germany as well. Yeah? So there's a lot of things to do for German business. So esteemed Minister Costa, Silva, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here. The first time now, Andre, now since for 3 years, right? Yeah. So it's great to be here to meet in person. Yeah? Not always on virtual screens with some small points and parts of the screen reserved for somebody, for friends. That's nice, okay, but really to be in person here is great. And what is even more great is that Portugal makes sense. And this is true of many aspects, but also of aspects what the German business is concerned. I do want to start with the German-Portuguese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, because we have a wonderful network of 140 German chambers of industry and commerce outside of Germany, which is our bilateral network. We call it Auslandshandelskammern, AHKs, AHKs. And my dear colleague from Lisbon, Mr. Böhmer, is among us, and he is the most privileged CEO of German chambers because he is located in Lisbon, and not in Berlin like me, and had the problem with the highway. So for many decades we are privileged to be in your country, esteemed Minister, and to be today as well a part of the partner country, the 22nd partner country of the Hannover Messe. So on behalf of the German Association of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, I would like to convey my gratitude to you, Minister, to your country, that you host our chamber and that you gave us the possibility to do business in your country, with partners in your country, and to find really friends in your country. And this is true so for many decades. So Portugal makes sense. This is also true when we speak about trade. And trade volume has dropped in the first year of Corona, 2020, but it really revitalized. It really regained power by 12% in plus trade growth in 2021 and reached a value of over 70 billion euros. almost as much as the record year 2019. And my forecast, and this is always based on surveys we conduct among our member surveys, that expectations of German businesses in Portugal are more optimistic than on average worldwide. And this against the backdrop that we really have a crisis when we speak about international trade and international division of labor current. But the more, at least we as German business, we are eager to foster our ties in European terms and in terms with countries like Portugal. Portugal makes sense, and this is maybe from your point of view the most important factor. It makes sense what investment are concerning. German companies have invested quite a lot. If one says, okay, we have to compute what has been invested up to now, the so-called capital stock, it is almost 7 billion euros of value. But what is more important, that those foreign direct investments in your country stemming from German companies have led to 70,000 jobs in your country. And more of them high qualified. And you give us more than a glimpse of where new qualifications can be reached in your country. So the majority of the 500 German companies in Portugal are manufacturing companies. And manufacturing companies that export their products which has been produced in the domestic markets, but also, of course, are offered to domestic customers. But from our perspective, this leads also to stability in your country and into the whole European internal market, when we together can be successful in producing and after then also exporting our products to third markets. In the last decades, the investments were primarily pure production and only partly, or let's say at the beginning of the investment story of German companies in Portugal. But in the last years especially, activities have been expanding also to other sectors, very often in the area of research and development, and I have to say above all it was development. And this is, from our perspective, a very welcome development that companies invest in your country, and of course companies also should come to Germany to invest in development, but it can be seen in your country really specifically. And Portugal offers opportunities to German companies that are sometimes reaching their limits here at home, not least because of the lack of qualified workforce in Germany right now. As we know from German companies and our AHK on site, Portugal has more and more very well qualified employees also in the field of research and development. And the German-Portuguese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, led by Mr. Böhmer, has a special program introduced. It's called Dual, when it comes to vocational training. And that's very important, not only in India, where our esteemed ambassador to Portugal. Our German ambassador was located before, but also in Portugal. And of course in Germany, where the dual system, how we call it, the vocational education and training, maybe was invented. At least it's very widespread and very well known and is successful, and not only in Europe, also in the United States. We are asked, how have you done this? How have you reached this success? And I have to admit, after being here, I'm heading to the United States, where we discuss some trade policy issues, but also where we discuss how to implement at least structures of the German dual system in the United States. But the AHK has done this in Lisbon and other parts in your country, and we are eager to enhance our activities when it comes to the dual program. It also fits into this picture that the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft decided more than 10 years ago to establish one of the first Fraunhofer centers abroad in Portugal. And this also happened with the strong support of the AHK that maintains a close cooperation with now 2 Fraunhofer centers in Portugal. Of course, German manufacturing companies already in Portugal were the first to recognize the new opportunities in technical innovation and R&D. But we are glad to see that more and more operations also coming directly from Germany. The German Portuguese Chamber is involved in these processes and advises and supports companies to find new opportunities. And this is particularly important in these challenging times for all economic actors in Europe. I don't have to mention all the problems outside in the world, a war in the Ukraine, an anti-COVID strategy in China, which is not too far-fetched to say it is failed and has led to lockdowns in great parts of China, and is strengthening the bottleneck problems in supply chains, and so on and so on. But this situation, which is very, very critical, what the globalization refers, what the International Division of Labor refers, our survey among more than 4,000 German companies worldwide shows that there is a strong interest to reinvest, sometimes relocate production, sometimes from Far East, to the neighborhood of Europe or to the center of Europe. And from my perspective, this creates opportunities in our German-Portuguese cooperation, collaboration. So there are companies who are really underway now to look for new suppliers, but also to new production sites. So once again, therefore, Portugal makes sense. DAHK and AHK Portugal strongly supported a partner country participation of Portugal at the Hannover Messe. Now this finally happened, and I'm very glad about. The AHK, once again, Mr. Böhmer is the man in charge, contributed to what we see here and today with over 110 exhibitors. This is an amazing reflection of the modern, efficient Portuguese economy. We can all see here in these days why the motto of the partner country 2022 is true. Last but not least, Portugal makes sense. Let's seize the chances and opportunities. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado.
Business partnerships between Portugal and Germany are at a long-time high. This is a result of a long walk, deepening economic ties between the two countries over the years. For a perspective of this walk, let's welcome Francisco Ribeiro de Menezes, the ambassador of Portugal to Germany.
Dear Minister Antonio Costa Silva, Secretaries of State, the President of ICEP, who is not looking at me. So, it's okay. Thank you. Liebe Botschafter, liebe Martin Ney, we owe so much to Martin Ney. It's true. Dear panelists, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's quite a challenge for me to speak before this audience today. This audience is part of the reason why the highway was blocked. They came also to listen to you. So, following Minister Costa Silva's remarks, your own remarks, waiting for Martin's, and just before the true experts come into action. But it is also, it was also a great challenge for all of us involved in this project in Germany and Portugal to hold this year's Hannover Messe, the first live Messe since 2019. And in truth, it is a dream come true to be here today. It could be seen as a paradox that the demanding circumstances that led to the postponement of the traditional Hannover Messe in 2020 and 2021, and even to a slight delay this year, should have brought a deeper level of understanding to the relationship between Germany and Portugal. Ours is a long-standing relationship, politically, economically, socially. The steady growth of bilateral trade and investment, of tourism flows, cultural exchanges, was a remarkable reality already before the pandemic. So why do I speak about a paradox? I would argue that our two countries, Portugal and Germany, played a decisive role throughout the difficult years of 2020 and 2021 in setting the course for the European Union's response to the pandemic crisis and all its consequences. Working together within the trio of presidencies of the EU Council, we redesigned a common program and shaped our semesters at the helm of Europe to launch what proved to be ambitious goals and initiatives. We did it with more than a little help from our friends, member states, the institutions, but thus were born, for example, the forward-looking Next Generation EU program with all its sub-programs. This is how we went through with an unprecedented effort to provide our citizens with the appropriate means, such as vaccines, to overcome COVID-19. We also showed solidarity to the rest of the world, and we should be proud of this, Portugal and Germany. And as we return to a rather new normality, sadly tainted by the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, Portugal and Germany have now two new governments with similar outlooks, and they begin almost parallel legislatures. And this is a welcome gift. To these new times, we therefore have arrived better equipped. Trade and investment, political contacts and foreign travel are growing again. This is living proof of that. That we should be together here in Hanover is proof of the solidity and the potential of our relationship. With the German government's support and with our commitment, something that was perfectly displayed by Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Prime Minister Antonio Costa, Portugal is now able to showcase what it does best. I thank again the Hannover Messe, I thank ICEP, I thank all the Portuguese entities such as IMAP and Silva, Hans Joachim, also a great debt of gratitude to all the work you have done. We have come a long way indeed, and all the hard work of these last years, months and weeks is coming together now. All great relationships have to be balanced. They must work both ways to the benefit of both parties. I have come to realize how much Germany respects the reformist path chosen by Portugal. Our exchanges become more and more encompassing. Our two economies become more and more integrated, and the quality, the added value of our trade and investment grows at a steady, consolidated rhythm. And thank you for your news about your expectations. They are very encouraging indeed. In a couple of minutes, we will learn more about the detail of this commerce in the broadest sense of the word, and about its potential for further development from our panelists. As an important and perhaps essential part of this process, our common agenda, Portugal's and Germany's, gains new dimensions. If Germany already knows that Portugal makes sense, it is now understanding and absorbing that we are much more than a safe and reliable partner. Portugal is innovative. We have gone from making to creating things. This applies to goods and services. Portugal provides valid alternatives for, as we discuss, new bywords such as nearshoring, for new solutions for mass production and supply of scarcer industrial goods. Here in Hanover, here today, we will demonstrate how a unique blend of geographical location, massive investment in a highly educated and skilled labor force, and a modern infrastructure can make the difference. Portugal is no longer known only for its good traditions. It is known for its groundbreaking modernity. The Web Summit is just a visible tip of the iceberg. There are many others. The testimonies you are about to hear attest to this. This specific talk is about lab coats and turtlenecks that set up shop in Portugal, and they know exactly what we can offer. A country that is linked to the rest of the world, a country prepared to cater to their very specific needs with a seal of quality. One of the expressions these days is the digital nomads. That's very nice, but we want the nomads to settle down in Portugal and to stay in Portugal and no longer be nomads. Please stay with us. One last thing, which Minister Costa Silva has already addressed. The Ampla Coalition, the Traffic Light Coalition, accelerated the pace of Germany's Energiewende, energy transition. Germany's goals are formidable, and they have been made even more demanding to accomplish by the tragic and unacceptable events taking place in the Ukraine. Portugal made a successful commitment to renewable energies years ago. Our capabilities and potential for increased cooperation with Germany are immense, as Germany seeks to transform and green its economy and reach the targets you have set, you Germans have accepted in this area, against an ominous background of Russia's aggression in the Ukraine. We can help with the transshipment of natural gas and with the production of green hydrogen. We must work together bilaterally and within the European Union, and we know that Germany is listening, and now is the moment to act, something our Prime Minister underlined 2 days ago already. I must not overextend myself. I'd love to keep on talking about these things, but this was the essence of my message, and I do appreciate your attention. And please believe me when I say that this has been one of the finest days, one of the most unforgettable moments of my mission as Ambassador of Portugal to Germany. Vielen Dank für diese Gelegenheit. Have a very nice day. Excellent work. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Foreign companies are successful in Portugal because corporations and policymakers work together to build value. An independent witness of this cooperation is the German ambassador to Portugal. Ladies and gentlemen, now follows Maritime.
Dear Minister Antonio Costa Silva, dear colleague and friend, Ambassador Francisco de Menezes, lieber Volker Dreyer, wir kennen uns aus Indien, dear guests and friends. Before I start, I must say it's a tremendous pleasure to be here, and I must point out we wouldn't be here without the Messe, especially Marco Siebert, without Luis Castro Enriquez and ICEP, without the Portuguese government, and without the German Chamber of Commerce with Miguel Leixring and Marcus. It takes a lot of hands to make this possible, but it's a pleasure to be here, and I share this pleasure with my friend Francisco. We Germans, we tend to think that we know our European friend Portugal. And we do. We value Portugal as an absolutely reliable business partner, as a long-standing, trusted place for investment, as a manufacturing bank of Europe, and of course, as a wonderful place to travel, to live, and to work. Today, I think it's time to revise partially our preconceptions of Portugal and its economy. Some aspects remain true. Portugal makes things. That is why its industrial base is strong. That is why companies as Siemens, as Bosch, have been doing business in Portugal for over 100 years. However, Portugal has diversified its economy. It now combines a strong industrial base with an innovative digital sector, global services for globally operating companies, and an ever stronger logistics base. That means Portugal makes things and Portugal makes up new ideas. The Web Summit held every November in Lisbon shows cases of many innovative companies and new industrial policies of the government. So today, why does Portugal make sense? 5 points from a rather independent observer living in Portugal. First one, Portugal makes sense politically. We are on the same song sheet in the European Union. We are on the same song sheet when it comes to democracy and the rule of law, and when it comes to values. And Portugal is stable with a very strong consensual society. That is a fundamentally important backdrop for any investment in Portugal or doing business in Portugal, especially when it comes to the need to nearshore supply chains, let's say after the Corona crisis and during Russia's war on Ukraine. Second point, the Portuguese government has an open ear for industry and business. I think it's a stronger message if I say this than you would say this, Minister, but Portugal has a government with an open ear for industry and business. 2 years ago, when together with the German-Portuguese Chamber of Commerce, we identified the chance for Portugal to become partner country of the Hannover Messe, it took me precisely 28 hours to convince this government to take the definitive decision at Prime Minister's level to grab this chance. I would say this is called business orientation and really fast decision making. When the German companies doing already business in Portugal need access to government, they have it without needing intervention of the embassy. Hardly ever they call me for help. Third point, Germany and German companies have an excellent reputation and standing in Portugal. I wasn't even 6 months in Portugal. I was dragged in front of TV cameras on stage to receive the Premio Expresso Economia from a daily newspaper, a very important one, awarded 2 years ago in a row to Germany for the country that contributed most to the growth of the Portuguese economy. And with me on stage were several managing directors of German companies in Portugal who received the corresponding company prizes. This is a reputation for you coming to Portugal to build on, if you come to Portugal. Fourth point, Portugal is well underway in terms of digital and green transition. The European Commission expects for 2022, this year, a growth rate of 5.8%. More than 2,200 startups, among them 7 unicorns, are in Portugal. The mayor of Lisbon, Carlos Moedas, who was EU Commissioner for Science and Innovation, wants to make the city of Lisbon a unicorn factory. For the green transition, Portugal is excellently equipped with an abundance of solar and wind energy. By 2026, the Prime Minister said it at the opening, 80% of the electric energy is to come from renewable sources. And my fifth point, Portugal is at home in the world. We already talked about the immense language skills of the workforce in Germany. It comes from somewhere. We sometimes forget history. Portugal is a former global player, and it has consequences still for today's Portugal. It still has fantastic links to Asia, to Africa, and Latin America. Portugal can be the point of departure for you to enter third markets. Partnering with Portuguese companies can be a way for you to enter African and other markets. Think about Portugal, think Portugal, and beyond Portugal. So what is, in my view, the secret behind Portugal's economic reinvention? It is the people. Well-educated graduates, skilled in technical professions, and an abundance of knowledge in foreign languages. A strong working culture and loyal workforce, and a government that is keenly aware of the change of times and determined to create opportunity. Come to Portugal, not only as a tourist, but for doing business and to work. I have enjoyed this privilege for 3 years. Makes sense, doesn't it? Thank you.
While we arrange a different setting on stage to welcome our new guests, we would like to thank our opening panel. Costa Silva, Portuguese Minister for the Economy and Maritime Affairs. Volker Treyer, Executive Board Member of the Association of the German Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Francisco Ribeiro de Menezes, Portuguese Ambassador to Germany, and Martin Nae, German Ambassador to Portugal. They have brought to us the context of why Portugal makes sense. Let's now screen some successful technological business partnerships. 3 innovative projects will be reviewed this morning. All are dedicated to mobility. Our moderator will be Carlos Pacheco, the advisor to the Board of Directors of Portuguese Trade and Investment Agency.
Guten Morgen, welcome, bom dia, sejam bem-vindos, good morning and welcome. I would like to share with you today 3 cases of technological successful business partnerships between German and Portuguese companies. We will see this morning new solutions for the automobile of the future, a project developed by Bosch and Celoplage. We will be looking into a real-time locator system that helps to move around transportation assets in a factory smoothly. It's a project being developed by Siemens and by Indrozis. And finally, we will be talking literally about rocket science. It's a project being developed by the Engineering Center SEIA and Rocket Factory Augsburg. They are developing a launch system to ferry satellites into Earth orbit. But before heading into these 3 projects, I would like to briefly introduce you to Bosch and Celoplage. Bosch operates in Portugal for over 100 years. It employs around 3,000 talented people, has net sales of 1.7 billion euros. Bosch operates in Portugal to the world as it exports 97% of its total production. The company has several units in Portugal dedicated to a range of activities, but we will be focusing this morning in the automotive area. And in this area, Bosch manufactures devices for smart homes, smart cities, and connected and autonomous mobility. Portuguese company Celoplage develops and manufactures technical and precision components by injection molding and micro-injection molding. Every year, Celoplage delivers 200 million of these devices out of 200 different types, as I believe. And is also an exporting company, as it exports 95%, and now it's right, of its total production. Carlos Ribas is the country manager of Bosch, Portugal, and Marcos Sampaio is the chief technology officer for microtechnologies at Celoplage. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for sharing the stage with us this morning. First of all, I would like to show the audience this picture. For us, at least for me, these are dented wheels, but I believe they are so much more than this. Carlos Ribas and Marcos Sampaio, could you please explain what we are seeing here?
Yes, yes. First of all, good morning to all the audience. Dear Minister of Economy, State Secretaries, ICEP colleagues, and all the audience. It's really a pleasure to be here today and share our experience that we are doing since many years already. So as you said, so Bosch in Portugal, so we are around about 6,000 associates, 3 plants, main office in Lisbon, and we know that Portugal since many, many years was known as just a manufacturing country. Point in time, we start thinking that just being a manufacturing country would not be the best solution to what we want. And at the same time, the Portuguese government decided to really invest in education, creating several universities several years ago, and the quality of these universities became so good that today we have really outstanding talents coming from our universities. And this is just looking coag wheels, simple coag wheels, but it is a masterpiece in technology. So this is one of the most important parts that will be applied in the LWS, so our single steering angle sensor. Steering angle sensor is the device that provides the information to the ASP to actuate. So you all know that the device that saves more life in the cars is the seat belt, and the second one is the ASP. And these wheels, with all the technology that my colleague supplier will come later on, is the most important part of this steering angle sensor that will provide this information to the ASP, stability system program, safety program, that will afterwards for sure save us today millions of lives in the car passengers. And this is something that is really developed 100%. This device, the steering angle sensor, is 100% developed in Portugal in our plant and is produced also in our plant. So we have as you mentioned, this talent, and that was already mentioned before by our minister and several of the ambassadors also. We have really talent and well-trained and skilled people. And this is one of the examples that Portugal makes sense. And my colleague and brilliant supplier will continue now with the more deep technical explanation.
Marcos Sampaio, what were the challenges involved in these wheels?
The challenges were extremely high, but first let me thank you for your kind introduction, your kind words, the presence of the Minister and all the audience. Good morning to you all. So as Mr. Carlos Ribas introduced, this seems to be a simple part, but in fact with lots of technology inside. So what you are seeing is one of the challenges that we are being faced every day when we are working in the field of automotive, telecommunications, or medical sectors. With Bosch, in this case, the goal was to induce magnetism in the component to produce a part that, when it's coming out from the injection molding tool, was already magnified, so what reduces manufacturing costs and also logistics. In fact, this challenge was also opportunity to grow and strengthen the relation between not only with Bosch but also with Portuguese universities and knowledge institutes, namely University of Minho, INL, Iberian Nanotechnology Laboratory, and CENTI, that was our partner as well in the development of raw materials. There is a center in Famalicão for nanotechnology and smart materials. So it's a motivation as well to develop new technologies. In this case, we were obliged to learn magnetism, to be more effective in the art of molding this type of products. For that, we had to develop raw materials, specific raw materials that were capable to reach the targets of the technical specifications we are looking for. And of course, in the final end, oversee the expectations and the technical expectations that were expected by our customer and final user of this product. Okay.
Carlos Ribas, Bosch is known for always be chasing for the gold standard in technology, and yet it finds it in Portugal. Why so?
Yes, so you know that when you start thinking that manufacturing is not really the only thing that we like to do in Portugal, and we start doing development, and this was known that, okay, so to master the basics of the technology, it was not enough for us. And to go to the next steps, to go ahead, it was important for us to go to the partnerships. And these partnerships, we went to the universities. And the universities mainly, so in our location, so in all our 3 plants in Portugal, we work together with universities. And with these universities, we try to bring the knowledge, the competence that is created in these universities and bring them to the industry. And to do that, between the many programs that we have with them, so we have some innovation programs. And the innovation programs that takes the time of 3 years normally, where we are developing the several devices, several parts, either in the product side, either in the technology side. So this is bring us the knowledge and the competence to be more and more competitive in creativity and also in the creativity and also in the manufacturing processes. And this is that's why, as we mentioned already several times in this stage yesterday and today, that Bosch in Portugal already applied for more than 90 patents. More than 50 of them in the last 2 years, and this year we already applied to additional 9. And it's for sure, so in all the cars that people that we have here in the audience, in all the cars for sure you have at least one device produced in our plant, in the cars.
Marcos Sampaio, what does it mean for Portuguese companies such as Celoplas to be trusted by such a huge player in the market?
Yeah, it's the responsibility. I would say it's the most appropriate word for it. We supply Bosch already for several years. We started our relation at the time. The name was still not Bosch. It was Blaupunkt and Philips. And then former companies that were acquired by the group. And the business is growing since '92, if I'm not mistaken, and until today. So it's part of our history, in fact, as well. So being trusted by Bosch is also represents the responsibility to give responsible technical support to the developers, engineers in Bosch. Of course, being competitive in the proposals we do, and in the final end to keep the levels of logistics, quality, and continuous improvement. That's what allows us to continue to be trusted by Bosch in the final end.
And in short, assuming that we have in our audience other Bosches,
yes,
and not only in Germany but in the world, what would you say to them? What would be your pitch?
I would say that if we have capabilities to have a reference customer and a flag customer as Bosch, you can take the advantages from Celoplas, that it's a partner has introduced dedicated to high precision technical components through injection molding with capabilities of doing molds internally. So we have the full package in the injection molding, have applications in liquid silicon rubber thermosets, and we transform all the thermoplastics available in the market. We can support you since your design stage to the product introduced to the market, and you can have our support in all developing team of the Celoplas to give the best to the products you have. And if you have more that you would like to know from us, I invite you to visit our booth in Hall 3, line B08, in the stand 47. And I will be very pleased to introduce more in detail our capabilities from micro-molding up to 2-3 automation integration processes that we have available in our company, and to offer you as process and business opportunities as well.
Marcos Sampaio and Carlos Ribas, thank you very much. I'll now move on to our next case, the case of Siemens and Introsys that are developing a real-time locator system to move transportation assets in a factory smoothly. Again, let me introduce you these two fine companies before we going into this case. Siemens operates in Portugal for over 116 years, employs about 3,000 highly qualified people. The company has a range of activities mainly focused in technologies. In the recent past, Siemens has invested heavily in several competency centers in Portugal. Portuguese company Introsys specializes in the development of mobile robotic platforms and subsystems, has 20 years of experience in automation and robotics. The company has projects in 16 countries and is very much focused in the automotive sector. The company Introsys has several projects with German companies such as Audi, BMW and Volkswagen. Again, let's start by welcoming Pedro Pires de Miranda, the CEO of Siemens, and Rui Flores, the CEO of Introsys. And again, as we did it in the first place, let's start with, in this case, a video. Let's show it to the public. Maybe we can have some sound in the video. Gentlemen, the sound. Gentlemen, the sound with the video. I will move back the video and wait for a second until they give me a go. It's a go, so let's share the video.
The city. We are used to seeing the flux of people, vehicles and logistics as a permanent clockwork harmony. But just stop for a minute and think, could a city work without traffic lights? Now imagine what happens daily in a factory. This is Volkswagen Auto Europa in Portugal. Every day, thousands of movements happen on these premises. Every hour. On this crossroad alone, more than 70 tugger trains run through, carrying parts that are vital for the assembly operations to keep on flowing. We need a traffic light system to keep the movement of vehicles controlled in our cities.
So we need a system which allows us flexibly monitor and smoothly manage traffic while also preventing accidents.
We implemented a real-time locating system that allowed us to reliably locate these logistic assets. Combining RTLS with the location intelligence software, we were able to virtually design geofences that we implemented with our partner Introsys.
RTLS data is further processed in industrial CMATIC controllers that were programmed to quickly react on events and decide how to manage and prioritize the traffic in the crossroad.
The CMATIC RTLS system installed at Volkswagen Auto Europa is now fully functional in one of the busiest and most difficult crossroads in the factory, rendering accidents to zero. Because it increases safety, efficiency and flexibility. Because it allows faster and transparent management of every vehicle. Because it really works.
Pedro Pires de Miranda. Pedro Pires de Miranda and Nuno Flores. This seems very simple, but it's not.
Yes, this is, first of all, thank you very much to ICEP for this invitation and Carlos for this coordination of this panel. Also, I want to congratulate the previous speakers. There's an excellent entrance on this show. Basically, this is an high-tech environment. So we produce cars in Auto Europa. It's the largest exporter of automotive in Portugal, with over 200,000 vehicles per year. And the environment in those plants is high-tech. That means nothing can be late, nothing can go wrong. There are upper control limits on the quality of the cars, on the supply chain internally, and that's where we came in. So basically, Auto Europa, our customer, Introsys, our technology partner, also with a big robotics component inside the plant, and Siemens as a really high-tech company, we merged together in a solution. So this was not either Siemens or Introsys to find a solution, it was a co-creation between the customer and us, and vice versa. So the task was, there are thousands and thousands of movements inside the plant that need to be coordinated. That means logistics, which are driven automatically with automatic guided modules, but also with people moving pallets with parts and components at the right time in a very dynamic environment. So the challenge is, how could you have a system which organizes, prioritizes, and also makes sense in terms of the plant, that everybody would accept it as the intelligent traffic system inside Auto Europa, outside the production line. And our challenges was to find a system that could locate all the moving aspects, all the moving assets, either automated or driven by people, that in the intersections of those movements could guide stop and go in a very organized manner, but also increasing the productivity of goods to the plant and to the production lines. And that's what we worked together with Introsys.
It works very well in an automobile factory, and it can work in any factory as well, Nuno Flores.
Well, first of all, thank you. It's very nice to be here in such a good company. I see a lot of friendly faces, people that have been working with us in Portugal for many years, and it's really a privilege to be able to be here today and speak a bit about this project. It's really something that we are proud of, because even though automotive industry is quite innovative, sometimes it's very difficult to bring new technology and put it in work in the shop floor. So what this project gave us was the opportunity to have a first step using real-time location systems, which I strongly believe that it will be the future for internal logistics in most of the industries and in most of the plants that require really complex material handling within the shop floor. So partnering with Siemens in this project was really for us a great opportunity. We had the chance to be in the right place, in the right time, and that also takes some skills to do that. And when you do it and then you perform, then you get excellent results. This is what we got, and that's the result of the video.
Pedro Pires de Miranda, Siemens has a story of partnering with Portuguese companies. Siemens keeps doing that. Why?
Yes, because we found out that alone you are not in an ecosystem, and smart companies work in ecosystems. You know, with example of Introsys, where we work already for many parts of the world, and also in Portugal. So we need to have this concept of working together. Siemens is a high-tech company, is a technology-based company, but we do not know all the verticals in industry. So we need to work together to get the perfect solution into the marketplace. And this is the key element. If you work alone as a supplier-based concept, you miss the total growth of the market. So in Portugal, we have been teaming with a lot of verticals, industrial verticals, process industries, digital industries, and we are very successful with this concept. Work together with the customer, co-create, and not be just a solution provider without the co-creation process. Most of the companies around the world are looking for the Internet of Things, connectivity, intelligence, artificial intelligence. You cannot do this alone. You need to partner. And to partner, you need competence, you need a lot of technology savvy, like we had in this project, with, to locate a moving asset inside Auto Europa with a tolerance of 10 centimeters all the time, 24 hours a day. This is high tech, because it looks in the end very simple, but the number of transponders, of real-time location systems, software that we had to implement is really high tech. So it's bringing also the intelligence of Auto Europa with Introsys and making a solution that fits with customer impact.
This must, being a partner of Siemens and also Audi, BMW and Volkswagen, it seems like going to the World Championship for Introsys, isn't it?
Well, you know, they say that if you want to be the best, you have to be within the best, be with the best, and that's what we try to do. And obviously, we are very proud of our partners and what we have achieved. We have really very relevant industrial partners, and our position as systems integrators. We are privileged enough to have been working for these brands in over 3 continents, 16 different countries. We have worked a lot with, because these German countries, they use mostly German technology, therefore they use a lot of Siemens technology in their shop floor, and this is the ground, the basis for the initial basis for the relationship between Introsys and Siemens, where we started in 2002, and we had a steep growth until the coronavirus, and we were located all around the world, and we have implemented Siemens equipment and controllers in these same 3 continents and 16 countries. So, yeah, it's for us really something amazing. You know, I've been here in the company since the very beginning. I am one of the initial founders of the company, and when you look back in the past and you see what you managed and what you have achieved, and being there close to these companies, it really makes you proud, and for sure means that we managed to do something right.
In 1 minute to both, it looks like Siemens and Introsys have a very special relationship. They work as a peer-to-peer relationship. Could you explain, both of you, in 1 minute, how does it work?
I would say from our side, we are both high-tech companies. So we are specialists on automation and control, robotics, Internet of Things, and all the technical platforms that are available in industry. So this is an eye-to-eye level, because technology is much more based on knowledge rather than in a country or a company. So we share the high-tech spirit, that all our solutions are highly developed, also in comparison with Germany, US, and Canada, for example. So that's the first. The second thing, there is a Portuguese blend here. You know, they have 80 engineers, we have a lot more worldwide, but I think that makes also a very attractive co-creation of solutions together. They have a plant in Setúbal, we are on the other side of the river in Alfragide. We are not so far away, you know, probably in the same location. And I think those are the 2 main aspects. So high-tech, competence, and we want to grow. Just I want to tell you that this case is already a best practice inside Volkswagen. We both want to take this use case all over the world, not only in the automotive industry, but in any industry where we have this type of problems. So any plant has issues with logistics inside the plant. So I was talking to Nuno yesterday in the evening, and he said, let's take this to 10 countries. Use, let's say, the market strength of Siemens and the technology of Introsys with us to win market share. One use case is useless unless we create scale. And this is probably why we are together.
Nuno, finally, in 1 minute, there may be other major German companies among us. Why did they should look at Introsys, and why you should start talking?
Well, you should look at Introsys because we are in all 9, and we are serving Moscatel, which is a Portuguese wine, with a robot. So I think that's more than a reason to come and see what we do. If we manage to do that with a robot, we can do so much more. Then, after everything that has been said, and people said that Portugal makes sense. So if Portugal makes sense, if we come out of Portugal and we are with the German companies, I would like to say that if Portugal makes sense, for sure, for the German industry, Introsys will make sense as well.
Thank you, Nuno. Let's now move to our third case. Rocket Factory Augsburg and the Engineering Center SEA are developing a launch system to ferry satellites. Rocket Factory Augsburg is a subsidiary of German-based Rocket Factory Augsburg, which has been developing a launch system for flights into Earth since 2018 to better connect and protect our home planet. SEIA is an engineering center and product development center, Portuguese one, of course. It designs, develops, and operates innovative projects in the mobility industries, namely automotive, urban mobility, aeronautics, ocean, and space. Rui Magalhães is the engineering and development manager for SEIA. Rui, again, what are we seeing here? What are these people doing?
Thank you. I don't know if this is working. Yeah. Thank you for allowing us to share this moment and for the invitation. This is a picture that wasn't taken a long time ago. It shows a group of people and some space parts. These parts are what we are developing together with Rocket Factory Augsburg for a small launcher, the RFA-1, which is a launcher that can take payloads up to 1.5 tons capacity to low Earth orbit. So for people to be more precise, LEO stays between 160 kilometers in height to up to 1,000 kilometers. So our commercial flights fly at 14 kilometers, so that you have the perspective. So we've been developing important structures for this launcher, a small launcher, together with a team in Portugal from RFA. So the parts we are developing are critical structures, primary structures. The fairings, which is the dome shape that you can see on the picture, are being developed between these two teams in Portugal at SEIA. We're developing also the orbital stage, which will take all the payloads for the satellites and take it into orbit, and a lot more of components and critical components for the separation stages of the rocket. So this is various groups, and coming back, if I might, to that picture, this is people from SEIA and people from RFI working together on these components and structures for the launcher. And if you exclude the guy which is on the right-hand side, which is me, I think, I would dare to say that these are very talented people developing creative solutions for this space launch.
But the guy from the right is the creative mind, I believe.
I wouldn't say so. I wasn't there.
What's the purpose of this project? What are the clients for this project?
Well, obviously the main client for this project is RFI Germany. They are responsible for integrating the whole system, the whole parts that we are producing, manufacturing, and doing all the engineering. So RFI Germany is the systems integrator for these components that we are developing. Obviously, the small launcher will definitely serve a market, which is the small launcher market that enables companies to have access to space in a more efficient and cost-effective way.
Can you hear some voices in the audience saying, Portugal involved in a launch system to space, really?
Yeah, I noticed.
Can you hear
something.
that?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Well, you know, space is not new to Portugal. We've used it centuries ago. And likewise, Portugal is not new to space. I think when we started as a member of the ESA in the early 2000s, there have been a lot of development and companies developing their own products for this sector, mainly targeted to the satellite communications, Earth observation market. And I think we have a lot of successful stories in Portugal. If you look if you look to the past, see how the automotive industry has progressed in the past 30 years, probably people will say that wouldn't be possible. It is. 6 years ago, SAIA developed, did the engineering and developed and manufacture aircraft parts, which are part of KC-390 from Embraer, which is flying. So probably people will say at the start that wouldn't be possible. So I think we can take that history from the past and believe that on the launch side, it is possible. We believe, and we think it makes sense if we can phrase what is written there. So why not? We like to be in that sort of uncomfortable and challenging situation. And partnering with RFI, I think it's key for the success.
You may have some clients in the audience, future clients. Can you assure them that they are fine with SAIA?
That we are, sorry?
They are fine with SAIA. Why they should they trust SAIA?
They are in safe hands. I think we as SAIA, we take on these challenges, but we don't do it alone. I think there are a lot of spillovers that we take from these programs, and we push and pull industry and challenge industry to respond to the needs of these sectors. I mean, we're not talking about really, at the end of the day, rocket science. We're talking about manufacturing capabilities. We're talking about materials. We're talking about engineering capacity towards a very specific area, which is space exploration, and in this particular case, the build of a launching system.
We are about to wrap this session. During this panel, we have brought to you 3 cases of successful technological business partnerships between German and Portuguese companies, the real-time locator system to move transportation assets in a factory smoothly, also the launch system to take satellites into orbit, and we showed you some solutions for the automobile of the future. It's now time to thank Carlos Ribas, to thank Marcos Sampaio, to thank Rui Flores, Pedro Pires de Miranda, and Rui Magalhães. Thank you all until our next conference.